Well, good morning, everyone. Very excited to be here. Day 2 at Sapphire in Orlando. Very happy to be here with a great friend of the firm, Carrier Corporation, Gundeep Singh, the CIO of the residential business unit, my dear colleague Gaurav Kohli, who's the account leader at EY for Carrier Corp, and Andy Papada, the program lead for this digital transformation. So we'll want to have a little bit of a discussion around our implementation of SAP Transportation Management, SAP Extended Warehouse Management, and SAP Logistics Business Network at Carrier in the last year that we spent with them. So I want to start with you, Gundeep. Sure. Organizations, as we all know, must be more innovative, more agile, more collaborative. Could you please tell us a little bit about your journey after you spun out of United Technologies a couple of years ago, and your efforts around digital transformation?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I'm glad that you mentioned that we spun out of an organization called United Technologies. It was a much larger organization, a Fortune 50 corporation that we were a division of. And then 2 years back, we spun off. And we really think of ourselves as a 100-year-old startup, right? And that does two things for you. The idea of startup means that you have to be nimble, you have to be agile, you need to move a lot faster. But this idea of being a 100-year-old company also drives a lot of tech debt and legacy that we have inherited that we need to take care of. So as a result of that, you absolutely need a very strong digital transformation lens and a plan of action. So when we think of digital transformation at Carrier, we think of it in 3 tiers, 3 broad tiers. These are the tiers of run, grow, and transform. By run, I mean, how do we really run the organization? How do we use the latest and greatest of digital technology to run our processes in the most efficient manner? To drive productivity at a shop floor, to drive efficiency with our transport providers, right? Transport management system fits in there. With growth, we are laser focused on how do we use digital to drive omni-channel experiences, drive our top line, but also improve our bottom line. And then the third layer of transformation is what I get most excited about. How do you use the latest and greatest of digital technology and innovation out there to completely transform the way we work at Carrier, to transform the way we go to market, to transform our business model innovations, right? So that's how we really look at our digital strategy: run, grow, transform. There's a lot of exciting work that has happened in all of these 3 layers. What we're going to talk about today, in a way, impacts all 3 layers: run, grow, as well as transform.
So fantastic, Gundeep, thank you. We're obviously talking about supply chain here in particular in that case. Yeah. Gaurav, you're our account leader at EY for this account, Carrier. We've been working and partnering for a number of years. Could you give a few examples specifically how we have helped Carrier Corporation on its digital journey over the last couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. So I remember this was probably around 3 years ago, and we were brought in as the transformation partner, right? And I think those 2 words are very important: transformation and partner. Let me touch on the second word first. When we came in, our idea of partnership was this is going to happen at every level. It's not about, the executives and the C-suites and the partners talking to each other, but it has to be a one team, and that's what we live by every day, and Gundeep's going to, nod on that. It's one team. It is not an EY or Carrier person who's trying to deliver that transformation. So that one team model, that partnership was like the most important, the key component for us. And I think then the second piece is transformation, right? When you're doing transformation, who are you doing it for? And it's 99% of the time, the answer is the customer. Whether I'm going to improve my employee experience, whether I'm going to improve my processes, at the end, it's all about the customer. It's centered around the customer. So I think that was the second piece that we worked on very diligently, that how will our projects improve the lives of our customers? What do they want? Where are they going? Can we follow them? So follow the customer was like a big mantra for us. And then I think the last thing I'll say is, at the end of the day, value is critical for organizations, right? When you define a business case, you need to live by it. And that was where our partnership came in. Do we all believe in this business case? Will we be able to deliver, the value that we are promising? And if yes, then let's agree to do it. If no, then all of us have the same say, same kind of voice on the table to say, no, this is not the right project to do. And we brought in a lot of velocity. I think we probably did 12 programs in the first 3 months of Carrier becoming its independent entity, and that has been the real transformation journey. Instead of it being a 5-year roadmap and you don't know when you're going to get value, the value was delivered continuously at a high speed with this one team, always listening, responding, and delivering value to the customer.
So Gaurav talked about value, trust, partnership. This is an area in supply chain. We all know our problems in today's world in supply chain. So Andy, you're the day-to-day lead for this program, North Star for transportation, Janice for warehousing. What were some of the challenges that your business stakeholders brought to you? Talking about partnership, they obviously trust the IT organization to put them into place. So when this journey started, what were some of these challenges that were brought to you to digital to change?
Yep, certainly. So in order to meet customer expectations late in 2020 with the supply chain issues that were looming, we decided to insource some of the activities that we had initially outsourced to a 3PL. So we decided to bring transportation planning in-house, decided to do a makeover in our warehouse, get it more efficient, be able to get product through as it's coming in. In order to do that, we needed to stand up digital solutions, right, to support that team. And one of the things that we looked at particularly was, one, driving efficiency was key. Two, visibility. We're an organization that had many ERP systems, many digital solutions across the board, different transportation management solutions. We needed a platform in place that can talk to each other so we can drive this efficiency through better analytics, better visibility. And that's really what started us down the road of looking at SAP. Our North America ERP system was SAP. We knew that was obviously the source of all of our financial and inventory data in North America. So we wanted something that would work in conjunction with that we can build upon. And so that's when we embarked onto this journey. And certainly it's not going to be the last part of this, right? This is something we're looking to extend and move on globally throughout Carrier.
Thank you, Andy. So I want to explain quickly also the application infrastructure that we had at the beginning, right? Carrier Corporation, at least in this particular business unit, is still on SAP ECC. The digital journey around S4HANA is still a bit ahead of the organization. But as Andy said, we were looking for a digital solution for transportation warehousing. So the system that was actually deployed is S4HANA with TM and EWM embedded. It has an extension into SAP's logistics business network for freight collaboration. So certainly it's a stepping stone towards S4HANA. So Andy, you talked about some of the challenges that the business encountered. Now we are about 5 months into actually using the system. Yep. We are live with TM, with EWM. We've had multiple go-lives over the last couple months. Can you already report back on some of the early results and returns on investment that you're seeing? I understand you even have some KPIs that you're already tracking.
Yeah, definitely. We're actually achieving some of the KPIs ahead of schedule where we thought we would be. Trailer utilization, being able to reduce our freight costs, right, by being able to ship more, right, per truck. Certainly has been one of the major KPIs that we've definitely got, we're ahead of schedule on. Second being another pain point that we tried to address by bringing some of those solutions in-house was aging inventory, right? Being able to better get inventory that's sitting in a warehouse for a certain length of time, because there's a lot of constraints around that, warranties, et cetera. Being able to be selective in what we choose and getting that out the door quickly was instrumental, and we're definitely making headway there for sure.
I've certainly learned to appreciate what Carrier Corp is doing. We are sitting here in a very comfortable space in the convention center. We all need cooling, right? So air-conditioned units, fly off the shelf in the times of April in the peak season to summer timeframe, right? So the aging of deliveries and inventory is certainly a key metric for this organization that has been at the forefront for us measuring the success of transportation and warehousing. Right? So at the end, these solutions allow you to ship. Right.
In fact, Bjorn, if I can add to what Andy has said. So at a tactical level, yes, we have had all of our promises delivered, which is great. But for us, this program is part of a profound transformation that we want to really imagine for future. Right? So as an organization, we want to be in line with where the world is heading. Right? We are trying to reimagine our network to serve to one common goal of the organization, which is to deliver the best customer experience that we can offer to our channel partners, right? Be it in the B2B space or even in direct-to-consumer space. Right? So I really think of this work that we have done as foundational to actually imagine those experiences in future. And I'm very happy and glad that all of our short-term KPIs are being met, which is great. But more importantly, the foundation that we have established now allows us to not only imagine the future, but also get there.
Yeah. Awesome. Gundeep. Gaurav, we like to talk about improving the working world, right? We been on a journey now. We laid the foundation, as Gundeep said, with S4HANA actually in the cloud. It's a RISE implementation of S4HANA with TM and EWM. So how do you see this going forward, unfolding at Carrier? This is the first stepping stone into the world of S4HANA. What else do you see on the horizon for our client here?
Yeah. So as I think about it, and I work a lot in the industry sector, and I think probably 20 years ago, there was some competition between all these industrial companies who can have the maximum number of ERPs. And I think, most of them have 100 plus. Wherever I go, I'm like, we've got 100 plus ERPs, and Carrier is probably, one of the leaders in that space too.
We're leaders in every space that we're in.
But what I think this program has done has shown that while you have that big foundational technical debt to pay, if you try to move to one instance, right? I was on a session with Pfizer. They've done that. They've gone to one global instance. But Carrier is going to have its own unique journey. And I think this is that start to that journey. Look at technologies, look at capabilities that you need to develop to help our channel partners, to help our customers, to improve their experience, to improve our service levels for them, right? And of course, this has been deployed for the North America business, but I think there's a huge opportunity now to take this model, this template, this playbook that's been built all over the globe for Carrier. If you look at, a huge ERP transformation, that may be years, but this is where customers getting value and some of these technologies can be deployed over your current ERP stack.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think you said something really important. With the legacy tech debt that we had, while we are on a journey to eventually get to one or at least a single digit number, we don't have time to, or even patience or the market appetite to wait for that transformation to end. It's going to take years. So we are actually in a bus that's driving at 150 miles per hour, and we have to make the repairs, service the bus while it's driving. There's no opportunity to take a pit stop and make the repairs that you need. And that's the idea of the modern world. Businesses are running at a very high velocity.
So Gundeep, we are a year and a half in this journey. If you dial back the clock, and please tell our audience, what are the top 3 recommendations you give to others who maybe have that journey ahead of them, and how to make this happen? How are you successful? What are the top 3 criteria that you usually look at the beginning of a program?
So from my perspective, it has been about many things, but if I had to boil this down to 3, the first one that comes to my mind is having clarity on what are we really going after. What is the business problem that we are trying to solve? This was not a SAP TMS and WMS implementation for us. This was a program to reimagine our network and how we serve our customers. we knew what the exact pain points are and the pain points that we have to go solve for. Right? So EY says this really well: better the question, better the answer, and better the world works. I truly believe in that. You know, having that right question up front that truly defines what you're really going after is extremely important. That's fundamental. Second is, once you know what you're really trying to go after, having the right change agent and a senior executive who's going to stand behind that opportunity, that problem statement that you're going after, and is going to be the driver of the change in the organization is paramount. If you don't have a change agent who can sponsor that, you will deliver the best-in-class technology, but you'll struggle with adoption. Right? It has to be top-down. There's no other option. And then third one is, I would give the analogy of a marriage. Find the right partner. It is extremely important to have the right SI with you. And that SI needs to look at, in fact, Gaurav mentioned one team. We truly believe in this concept of one team. We are all on one side. And the customer that we are trying to serve for is our customer. They are our channel partners. They are consumers who actually use the Carrier HVAC product. So Gaurav would never look at me as a customer. For us, the common customer is our channel partner. Right? So having that right SI that believes in your philosophy and that believes in your mindset and how you really want to drive that change is extremely important. Right? And then the right SI would obviously help you with all the right advice that you need around picking the right technology, picking the right platform. Right? And I mean, we are an SAP shop. We know we'll never go wrong with the right SAP technology. And having the right partner in the room just ensures that we not only have the right technology like TMS and WMS, but also that we're going to implement it right. So those are the top three things that come to my mind. I can go on, but then you asked for three, so I'll just limit myself.
Thank you, Gundeep. We're obviously honored that you chose us as the partner along that journey, or we've become friends along the way. Going back to the title of the session around putting the customer first, we mentioned it a couple times. Andy, I'll give the last question to you. We have about 2 more minutes. Customer first, obviously, maybe if we start at the end of the process, also has a lot of track and trace attached to it. We've talked about it for years in supply chain. So give us a final thought on how we are actually serving the customer better now, right, by providing more real-time information that the customer actually can actively get to, right? So it was also a big part of this implementation to really visualize the supply chain in a better way for your clients, our joint end customer at the end of the day.
Yeah, definitely. You know, from a customer perspective, I mean, certainly we're getting deliveries to them quicker. We're getting deliveries to them quicker. We're getting deliveries to them cheaper, for sure. Visibility, one of the pain points that we had in our previous implementation was customers didn't really know exactly where their load was at any particular time when they're delivering. If you think about a distribution center, right? Everybody has very limited time, right? There are pinpoint times in the day in which you have to have a delivery there, and they have the right people there to unload it. We've been able to hone that in to a degree where our on-time percentage is so much better, right? Because we're better able to plan. In addition to that, we have given them such a better visibility into our loads with the new track and trace solution. They can actually look at their load, go out to a real time, find out where their truck is, get a new ETA if there is any type of delay, through any unforeseen circumstances. Certainly that's improved things because it allows them to plan better, right, to receive our shipments. So certainly that's really where the focus is on the customer in this case.
Like, Andy, if you remember, that used to be the number one question that our customer service used to get. Where is my order?
Yes.
And the entire customer service team was actually built around answering this question of where's my order, looking at like 15 different systems that they were interacting with. Now, using the best-of-breed SAP technology, leveraging SAP HANA, TMS, EWM, number of other SAP technologies, we have built a experience layer on top of it, wherein everything is stitched together, real time. So if a customer needs to know where is my order at any given point in time, it's available on a single click. And if the truck is on the road, they actually see the truck moving towards them, which is exactly what they needed. They need to know when do they need to plan for labor to show up, all of their productivity planning has improved. So I think this program for us is a poster kid of what transformation truly means with this lens of customer experience.
Well said. Thanks, gentlemen, for the time. If you want to see us next to the stage, we're obviously ready for some questions if you want to. Otherwise, thanks for your time. Thanks to Sapphire. It's really good to be back in person, by the way, and enjoy the rest of your conference. Thank you.
Thank you.